Michelle, nice to meet you. And
Lovely to meet you too.
yeah, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background, and then we'll delve into your book and your ideas.
Yeah, so I've been a primary school teacher for 25 years, over 25 years, and an assistant head for over 10 years. I've mainly worked in the east of England, working in different primary schools, and the school that I've been in currently, I've been there for quite a while. I am very passionate about developing teachers' well-being and having strategies to be able to support teachers to be able to continue to love the job that they do.
Yeah, so the book that you've written is What Happy Teachers Do, three-step self-care system that supports you inside and outside the classroom. A very
Yeah.
intriguing title. So yeah, can you tell us a little bit about it and what inspired you to write it?
Yeah, so the three step system includes self-care, mindfulness, and tapping. And I realized myself that I needed to do something about my own well-being about 9, 10 years ago. And that I had at the time had my family were very young, and I wanted to be able to continue teaching and enjoy what I was doing, but without feeling too overwhelmed. And that's when I started to do mindfulness. And it was something that started as a school-led training session. And in all honesty, I didn't think mindfulness would be for me. I didn't think my mind could be calm and quiet.
Right.
But actually doing the practices, I realized what a difference it made to me, and it only needed to be a short amount of time that could make a big difference. I read different books on mindfulness. I did the 8-week MBSR mindfulness-based stress reduction course before going on to train to do it myself. And it was when I first started doing mindfulness that I realized that I wasn't having any time for myself. I was either working or I was looking after my children and being family orientated. And I wasn't making even 5 minutes a day time for when I could just do something for myself. And that's what I think is really important for teachers to be able to do, is to be able to have that sense of self and identity outside of other roles. To be able to do that. I discovered tapping about 5 to 6 years ago. And tapping, if you've not heard of it, is where you tap on different points in your body. You start on the side of your hand, you tap on the eyebrows, and then points around your face, your collarbone, under your arm, and top of your head. And what happens when you tap is that you lower cortisol levels while acknowledging how you're feeling. So by doing that, you're then able to feel calmer and feel safer in what you're doing and how you are. I found it to be one of the quickest ways to feel more in control and to be able to cope with whatever's going on, however stressful a situation might be. And that's something that I found really helpful. So there's a whole section in the book just on tapping, either tapping for everyday stressors, things that everybody has. Sometimes people have trouble sleeping, anxiety, anything which is like an everyday stressor, you can use tapping for. But there's also a chapter which is specifically for teachers about teacher-related stress. The things like having difficult conversations with parents, to having an inspection, to having a safeguarding issue, which you then end up taking home with you because you're worrying about that child going forwards. And it's about being able to tap on that, to be able to know that you have done everything in your power at that time to be able to support, and therefore be able to move on slightly to be able to carry on with what you're doing. So yeah, that's what the book's about. It's got lots of anecdotes in it. It's split into lots of short sections. We know how busy teachers are. We know that actually sometimes if you can read something for 2 minutes, you're more likely to read it than feel like you've got to read a whole book. So
Yeah.
it's designed so you can dip in and out of it as and when you need it. And so far, the feedback's been really positive on it because it is helping people.
Yeah, fantastic. So, how do we go about starting this kind of process? Where, kind of you say it's 2 minutes or it's just a little bit of time for yourself, but what are, a few practical steps that someone could maybe take today or tomorrow to get started before they obviously go and read your book?
Yeah, I think to start with, it is about finding small units of time and when you can do something for yourself. And that may just be that you think about when you first get up in the morning, 3 things that you're grateful for, because it's so easy as a teacher to wake up and have that to-do list already running through your mind of all the things you need to do before the school day starts. And being able to slow our minds down and replace that busyness with gratitude completely changes how we approach the whole rest of the day. And that's something you don't have to write anything down. You can literally just think, oh, I'm really grateful that I had a good night's sleep. I'm grateful that my bed's comfy. I'm grateful that I'm going to get to phone my friend later. It can be anything that you are grateful for in that day. And it may be that you repeat the same things. It's the same thing you're grateful for every day, but you're still setting yourself up in a really positive way. And that's something you can do before you even get out of bed in the morning. And it can be the smallest step, but try it for a week. See if it makes a difference to you. If it does, great. If it doesn't, try something else. And it could be that you try doing a short tapping video, or you try doing a short practice, or you think about what your lunches are for the next week. And for a week, you have your meals planned for that week for lunches. So you don't have to think about it, but you know you're eating something healthy for that day.
Yeah,
These small.
so it's kind of like a, partially common sense approach of organizing your time, but then, valuing yourself and taking that time for well-being. Let's say someone is a little bit reluctant. Is there anything more we can say to them to kind of persuade them that this is worth their time? You've given some positive ideas that we can do, but there's still some people who need a little bit more persuading.
Yeah, I think you see it quite a lot on social media, don't you? About that, don't tell me what to do. I've got no time to do anything.
Yeah.
And you see those kind of messages going out there. But I personally believe that unless you look after yourself, how can you possibly look after anybody else? And in teaching, we are looking after people all day long. We're holding the energy, we're looking after all the individuals that we teach. Often, if you're in primary, you're looking after all their parents as well. You're holding all of their parents and their needs. You are supporting your colleagues and everybody around you. So unless you take time to look after yourself, how can you look after everybody else?
Yeah, absolutely. What kind of role do you think leadership can play in this? As an assistant head and heads and principals, what can we do as leaders to kind of promote this in our schools?
I think that's a really interesting question, because I think so often with well-being ideas, it's something that's enforced on people. And I think that's where it goes wrong. I think it very much needs to be something that people choose to buy into if they want to. So in our school, I'm really fortunate. The school that I work in, my head teacher is very open. She's also a mindfulness-based stress reduction coach. We've run sessions for staff and parents, but we've run them as, if you'd like to do this, then come and sign up for the 8 weeks to do the course. We'd love to see you. There's no pressure. Or try it. And if you try it and it's not for you, you don't have to do the whole 8 weeks, just give it a go. If it works for you, great. If it doesn't, we understand. Because unless people come to it at a time that is ready for them and they feel that it's their choice and they're buying into it, then it's never going to have a positive impact. So I think anything which is well-being related everybody needs to have autonomy. Everyone needs to be able to have decisions about what they do and how that they do it. I think as leaders, we can suggest different things or say, oh, that we're running this, or this is available to you if you are interested. But I think it's also as important as leaders to go, do you know what? Our staff meeting tonight, we're just going to give everyone time because we know you're really busy. Or we know that actually we're going to shut the school by 5:30 tonight because everyone just needs to go home. And I think there's an element of leadership where it's us setting this an example as well, about going, oh, I'm going now because actually it's my son's birthday and I really want to be home for it, or whatever it is, that we can set an example of being able to say, oh, do you know what? I've had a really difficult lesson, but I'd like to share something positive with you. Is that okay? Because I need to shift my mindset. So being that role model of not thinking that everything's perfect, because nothing's perfect for anybody, but it is about helping people to make the switch so that when we get into that negative mindset, that we've got a way of being able to get out of it.
Yeah. If I go maybe the other way into the students, well, two questions. One, how does a teacher being in this positive mindset and having this kind of, embodying this well-being, how does that affect a class? And also, how do you, how much of these kind of methods and strategies do you employ with students?
Yeah, so I think as far as it can only be a good thing for your class if you are able to feel balanced in yourself and you're able to take pauses when you need to and you're able to think through. And I think as teachers, as a profession, we're very quick to criticize ourselves. We're very quick to go, oh, I should have done that, or this should have been done differently. Whereas if we're employing like some of the short mindfulness practices where we're stopping, so we take a breath, we observe how we're feeling before we proceed, then we are more likely to respond to a situation which is triggering or challenging rather than react to it. So therefore, we're not going to have the guilt afterwards about, oh, we should have done this, this, or this. The students are getting the best version of us to be able to learn themselves. And as far as thinking about how can we share this with children, I currently teach year 1, so I'm teaching 5 and 6-year-olds. And we do some kind of daily practice, which is either a breathing practice or we do a very short tapping session. I've got a whole range of videos for children called Tapping Club, which they're all like 3 minutes long. They're short sessions that you can put up and do with the children. And what I've noticed by doing it regularly is that the children start to recognize themselves when they need to do something. So it was we're on holiday at the moment, but so the last day of term when I was teaching, the children were tired. They were ready for a break. And I was like, look, guys, I can see that you're really tired. Let's be really kind to each other. And one of the little boys, 5, put his hand up and said, we just need to do some tapping. Can we do some tapping together? Because as a whole class, it makes the whole energy changes. It makes everyone feel a bit calmer, a bit more relaxed, and it shifts the energy. So I think if we can help children to develop these strategies from a young age, then they're more likely to recognize themselves how they're feeling and know that they've got different things they can do.
Yeah. Well, interestingly, when I was, reading your literature and having a look at your site, it was the tapping that kind of stood out to me because the other stuff I think me and Rob have talked about, and touched on some of the areas, well-being and kind of balanced lifestyle and positive attitudes. But tapping is a relatively new one for me. Could you tell me a little bit more, maybe about kind of if there's any neuroscience behind it, or if there's any, kind of wider positive benefit?
So tapping was first invented in about the 1980s, and it was first designed to be able to support soldiers with PTSD. So soldiers who had come back from the war and who were having horrific night terrors and being able to reliving awful experiences, and they'd had different kinds of talk therapy. But it was only when they started to try doing tapping sequences that they started to have lasting impact and results. And one of the students of the original group went on to develop the tapping sequence EFT that we use today. So Gary Craig developed the sequence that we use today, and we tap on the side of the hand, which is called the karate chop point, and we tap on that starting with an even though statement. So, for example, even though I'm feeling overwhelmed, even though I'm feeling so tired, I love and accept myself. So we acknowledge how we're feeling to start with. So we recognize that the thoughts that we're already feeling, so that those thoughts are already running through our heads. And sometimes when people first hear about tapping, they're like, oh, why are you saying about the negative? And it's because it's already there. So we're acknowledging how we're feeling, but we're also saying, I love and accept myself regardless. So however I'm feeling, that's okay. And then you go around to tap on each point. So as you tap on the points, they're at the end of meridians. So it helps to send calming signals to the brain. When we are stressed, when we are worried, then our amygdala in our brain, the ancient part of our reptilian part of our brain, triggers us into fight or flight. And as we tap, we help to reduce that stress. We're sending calming signals to our brain to say, in this moment, we are safe. Even though we're feeling anxiety, even though we may be feeling worried, we are safe in this moment. And that helps to reduce the amount of cortisol that we have in our bodies, and therefore helps us to feel calmer and more relaxed in what we're doing. So tapping, as I said, has been around for about 30, 40 years now. And it's becoming more popular, and it's starting to become a bit more widespread. You're starting to see people like Oprah doing tapping, and different celebrities now who have tried it. Fern Cotton's a big advocate of tapping. different people who have tried it, because it does have such immediate effect and it makes you feel better so much quicker. And it's also so easy to learn. So the 5-year-olds in my class all know the tapping points. They all know that we start with an even though we're having a busy day, or even though I'm feeling tired. And in class, we tend to do even though I'm feeling tired, I'm okay. So rather than I love and accept myself, in class, we do tend to do a I'm okay. And it just has the ability to create calm really quickly. If I'm leading a whole school assembly and we've been doing something that's exciting and they need the energy to change in the room quickly, then I have, everyone tap on the top of the head, everyone tapping your collarbone points. And it just helps to lower the energy and to make everyone feel calm.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen through counseling and other things of the physical touch and, people making contact with physical objects and the idea of affirmations. And I love the fact that, we're English. And so we say I'm okay rather than I love and accept myself. It's like, we know what we mean, right? It's like,
Yeah.
it's good. It's good to voice those things though. So I think that's a really nice idea. And I'm going to look into that further for sure, with to use in my school, my students. Maybe, as you said, you've been 25 years or so in the English school system. Well, how have you seen the changes in terms of the need for more well-being in teachers, but also a more acceptance of kind of these ideas?
I think there's been massive changes in education in the last 25 years, particularly actually in the last 10 years. I think there's been a big shift and a big change. Partly, I think, due to the amount of extra pressure that's been put on teachers and accountability, but also through the reduction of services which are available for families and support. And so much of that now falls to schools. And we're now helping to support families with mental health, with social care, with so many different parts, which never used to be down to schools to be able to provide that support. So I think that's part of the big shift. I think there's also a shift in parenting culture and what parenting is like now. The children that I'm teaching now were babies during the COVID pandemic. So those families they couldn't even see their own family. They didn't get to see grandparents. They didn't have that wider socializing and networking. And that's got to have an impact on both the children and the families because they didn't have that support going forward. So I think that generally has created greater anxiety and a bit of fear and not unknown. So I think that's part of the change which has happened. I think lots of things have been added to education, but nothing has been taken out. So there's the curriculum in England is very heavily loaded, especially in primary. There's so much content rather than a skills-driven curriculum. So that increases pressure as well. And I think as far as what you're saying about the acceptance now, I think unfortunately it's very much well known that teaching is hard to get teachers. And it's hard to get them to stay in teaching for a length of time. And the fallout rate for teachers leaving the profession is so high within the first 5 years because of the demands of the job. So I think the need for well-being and support is at the highest it's ever been.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of my friends still teaching back in England, and I 100% agree with what you're saying there. And we can only hope that both on a school-wide and educational boroughs and up into the government level, that we can hear some of the messages that are coming through in your book. And it is a very positive message. And I think teachers who can take on board some of those ideas and approach every day with that appreciation and acknowledge that it is a very demanding job and hopefully get the respect that teachers deserve for all the hard work. If there's kind of a takeaway from our conversation that you want people to other than obviously go and purchase your book immediately, is there any takeaways that you would like people to leave this conversation with?
Yeah, I think it's really important that all teachers know that they're much more than just their job and that they need to be able to find ways to make time for themselves and things that they love doing, because to be able to want to continue to do the job, you've got to have a balance. And to be able to do that, you have to find time for yourself and you have to find things which are important to you. And it may be that tapping mindfulness aren't your thing, but find whatever is your thing, because that's going to make a massive difference to how you feel about yourself and how you feel about everything else.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's next for you, Michelle? Are you working on other projects or expanding the kind of ideas in your book?
Yeah, I'm still promoting the book and all of the ideas in it. I've been working with initial teacher training centres and within the East of England, and also with like early career teachers to be able to support them, because actually we know that that's where the massive fallout is. And if people can have strategies from early on, then hopefully they choose to stay in education for longer. And also, I'd like to develop more about children's wellbeing and what we can do to support children's wellbeing through using similar strategies. So yeah, they're the kind of projects that I'm working on. But
Yeah.
I'm still working in school for 4 days a week. So it's yeah, doing a bit of both.
Yeah, busy, 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 but appreciate your time today. Thank you very much for chatting. So yeah, what happy teachers do, the three-step self-care system that supports you inside and outside the classroom by Michelle Auton. Yeah, please go purchase your copy. And if people want to get in touch with you, how can they do that?
Yeah, so you can go to my website, which is michelleauton.com. And if you sign up to the website, I send out really short to read emails each week, which have links to videos that you may like to try. I also run a free tapping session once a month for anybody who would like to come and join it. You can follow me on Instagram, Michelle Auton too, or I'm on TikTok and on Facebook as well. So yeah, there's lots of different ways to be able to connect. And I'd love to hear from more people.
Good, good. Well, thank you very much for chatting today.
Brilliant. Thank you for having me.